Does she want to come in so you can see it? You can see it.
You're alive. I got one viewer.
Okay. They always blow the surprise. Okay, everybody ready? We will be unveiling what may be the cutest occurrence, at least of the week. Maybe. A lot of cute things happen here. So get ready. Ding, 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 ding. 3 days old. 3 of them. They're very tiny. You're so tiny, I got nothing for you. I can't help you right now. Let's go inside. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. We're walking on your knees. You are really feisty. Please, please, please. Get him, Sam. Sam's going to be a wangler, a little lamb wrangler, a little lamb wrangler, little lamb wrangler. You better come all the way in. So we are introducing you to what may be 3 of the cutest little lamb dangles on the planet. I love you so much. We have hello. So when they arrived, which would be 2 days ago, you're 3 days old now. So 2 days ago they arrived in a large Rubbermaid container, which is it's a great way to get lambs. That's how you transport lambs. Come on. Come on, Leo. And you can meet each one. We'll start here. This is one of the boys. Say hello, I'm a boy. This is another boy. They do not have names. Do-do-do-do-do. I am a little boy. And this is the little girl who screams all the time. You are the sweetest little girl. Yes, you are. So these sweet triplets, I know you are the sweetest, never actually got to meet their mother. Not really, because they were born out in the field, and it was raining and cold, because it's really cold here. I'm actually really flushed, because if you're outside for any amount of time right now, it's so incredibly cold outside. So these 3 sweet, amazing little lambs. Hello, little one. You're getting so cute. You are so tough. You're already budding. You got to stop doing it. So you can see they already are playful. I know, you're very sweet. I know. So that when they were found outside and their mother was already dead. And this is not necessarily something, this isn't unusual because the same thing happened last year and the year before and the year before. So we get a lot of lambs because if a mother does die and mom can't nurse you, no, I know. It's not easy to raise lambs without their mom. They do really well with mom, really, really well with mom. Without mom, there's lots of chances for problems. One of the problems is just like what we see in the calves where they get navel ill, and that's from not getting enough colostrum. They did tube some colostrum into these lambs, but we do already have a little bit of a concern with the girl because she came in limping. So every single day, every single solitary day, we have to check every part of you. So you have to feel their entire body every single day to make sure that they don't have any hot joints or like from all the way up here, all the way down to your toes. So every single day we feel everybody's joints. Every single day we check their umbilical cords. Every single day we take temperatures. So we're really monitoring their health. Thank you for doing that. We're really trying to monitor to make sure that they're healthy because they didn't get enough colostrum. We do know that. So colostrum you can only give within the first 24 hours. It's actually better to get in the first 12 hours. So without that, it doesn't get absorbed. So after the 24 hours is up, it's not going to be absorbed. So it's of no use for them to get colostrum by the time we got them. So what might have to happen, and it depends on how they do, for right now, they are all on antibiotics because they were all gurgling when they came in, but they were born outside in the cold. And we see this a lot because, I know, because if they don't know when your mom's going to give birth, which people should know, they should know, I know. no. But if they're living outside and the mom is out in the rain, the mom can handle the rain. But a lot of these lambs are born outside. If you remember Romy was actually born a twin. And the mom came in with one baby and Romy was too weak to walk. So we ended up with Romy. Same situation, except that your situation was worse because their mom actually died during the birthing process. Sheep can easily die when giving birth if they get pregnancy toxemia. You're funny. Let's do that again. They can die if they hemorrhage, if they like have a prolapse when they're giving birth. So it's really good. So like when we have a pregnant mother come in, are you going to be playful? So if a pregnant mother comes in, we definitely don't know when they were supposed to have a baby, so we monitor them every single day. So we're looking for any signs of them giving birth. There's lots of things to look for. And then when we're getting closer, yes, we have people sleep with the mom. So there's no way that anything will go wrong because a lot of things can go wrong. They can have breech births, you can have triplets.
How common or uncommon are triplets?
Yeah, so with sheep, and these are Katahdins, triplets are not that uncommon. Definitely twins are very, very common. And what's less common than sorry, I can't even do this because of the jumping. But what's less common than twins is actually singles. We see more twins born than singles. So lots of twins. Lots of twins. You're the toughest one. You're a jumper. You swore. So when they came in, one of them hadn't nursed yet. And so we spent hours of time trying to get you guys to nurse, and you did. You did such a good job. Yes, you did.
How often do they eat now?
They're eating every 4 hours, so that's the other thing. So there are people down here at 2:30 a.m. feeding the lambs, and that's important to note that like anytime we take in a baby, they are so incredibly cute and so incredibly sweet, and we all want to spend time with them, but they are a whole lot of work. So every single day they're creating the milk for them. We either have to mix it up or we actually use goat milk for them. We have they need a higher protein milk than like the cows get, so they have a goat milk. So we either get fresh goat milk or powdered goat milk, and they get that. And they're eating about 15% of their body weight is what we try to do with them. And they can go up to like 20% of their body weight. When they're drinking a whole milk, they can actually eat as much as they want. So we want to make sure that they get at least that amount, and then they can have some more, right? Because you got to maintain your body weight. Yes, you do. They're very, very curious. Again, so we do take their temperatures, especially because we know that they didn't get enough colostrum. So they are very vulnerable to bacteria. The reason I'm wearing ISO, I know, is not because they're sick. It's because I have been out on the farm and I could be bringing something into them. So we want to make sure that we are not bringing in anything that would affect them at all. Because they have a very weakened immune system, because they get that from mom and from the colostrum.
So what is the suckling behavior that we see here?
The suckling behavior is because somebody wants some milk. What time is it? Is it time? I don't know. I have to look. I will ask, because maybe it would be really nice to see them eat. Because when they nurse, they're very, very cute. If you've ever seen a lamb nursing off a bottle or even off mom, the tail's just going crazy. So they get really excited, don't you? I know.
A question come in earlier about what this mineral block does and if they can use
For
that.
right now, this is more of a play structure. So what they do lick it, which is really funny. They have not developed a rumen yet. They have a lot of time to do that. You've got a couple weeks. So they do pick at this, but they don't really eat it. They do lick this mineral block, but they don't lick it a lot. And they jump on it, so they've been playing with it. Hello. But they will need this mineral block eventually, so the mineral block will stay in with them. Yes, it will. They should make tiny ones for you. But we have really specific minerals that our sheep have, and unfortunately they don't make little teeny mini blocks for little teeny mini sheeps. PTTPP. Go ahead.
Donna wants to know how much they weigh.
Okay, I can tell you because I've weighed them. So they're between 7 and 8 pounds each. The smallest is a little girl who's suckling on a bowl of water because she wants milk. Do you want some more milk? She's like, I do. I do. And they are such great babies. And they're just learning to be really playful. Are you playful? I think you are. I know. This one especially is very, very playful. Yes, you are. You're eating things you're not supposed to eat. So they're going to be in here, especially now that it's cold. You guys are going to be in here probably for a few months while they grow up and get a little bit stronger. And then eventually you'll get to go outside and play in the snow. And you'll have to wear coats because it's really, really cold. And these are Katahdins, so these are hair sheep. These are not wool sheep. So as thick as this is hair. This is definitely not the wool. Say, this is not the wool. This is the hair. Because I am a hair sheep. And that's the truth.
People, we know they don't have any names yet, but people are curious how and when we choose them.
It really depends. Like, yes, we're gonna think a long time before we name somebody as special as you. Your name's gonna be Ba. They all have a different Ba, by the way, and it's one of the funniest things. And the first night, this little boy was really weak because I think he was the one that was tube fed. He was definitely the weakest. And his Ba was really sad. It was really, really pathetic. Are you gonna show off your markings? I'm gonna go see what time. You guys just film without me for a minute. I wanna see what time they eat. I'm just gonna yell around here. Is there a caregiver out there? Where's a caregiver? Anybody? I need a caregiver. I need a caregiver now. I need a caregiver.
Wendy's asking what their coat feels like from a human perspective.
It's soft as velvet. No, their coats they feel like hair. So it's more like a dog hair than it is like wool, but it is soft. It's thicker than a puppy. It's thicker than puppy hair. Yes, it is. It's very thick. It's very thick. But it's very, very soft.
Hi.
What time do they eat? You're on live feed. So
Yeah. Oh, hi. 10:30, 2:30,
That's what I thought.
6:30,
So when's the next time they eat?
6:30.
Did they already eat at 2:30? Oh, they're acting like they're hungry. They're lying. Thank you. I don't think you're telling the truth about being hungry. Come on. So anyway, what happened on sheep farms is, again, these would be sheep that would be used for lamb production. This breed is a lamb production animal. So they're clearly not for wool, they're hair sheep. So the thing that we see is, if you're putting more money into an animal than you're going to get out of the animal, that doesn't happen, it can't. Sometimes it's based on there's nobody to do it, there's not enough time, but a lot of it's based on how much money it's gonna cost. And when you don't have mom, you sometimes have very sickly lambs unless you put a lot into them, which is what we will do. Every single day. We will put as much into them as they need so they'll be healthy and happy and strong. And they actually look like one of these girls, the little girl looks just like Vera Jo. So you'll just blend right in. No one's even gonna know you're there.
So for people who are tuning in a little bit late, they're asking if you can recap the kind of breed they are, what their background is from, how you got them here.
How did we get you? So these are Katahdin lambs. They're 3 days old, and their mother died during the birthing process at a farm. It's true. And their mom died while giving birth. So they were found outside with their dead mother in the rain and in the cold. And you didn't get colostrum. No. So they actually got them they got the colostrum from the mother and tubed them, but there wasn't a lot. So in all reality, they need about 15% of their body weight in colostrum within the first 12 hours is the best and healthiest thing for them. And if they get that, then they have an immune system, basically. But without the colostrum, they have a weakened immunity, which is why I'm wearing this lovely outfit. Because they can't get anything. Like, I was out on the farm, so I was just with the sheep a little while ago. And so I had to wash my hands and get really nice and clean, so you wouldn't be exposed to anything, because the last thing they need without an immune system is to be exposed to any kind of like parasites, or if anybody in the main sheep barn is getting sick, you don't want them exposed to any of those bacteria right now. Oh look, you're suckling on each other's ears. That's delightful. And because Sophie is alone, within the next couple weeks, Sophie will probably join this group because she is older than them, but sheep love to be with sheep. They just do.
And everybody, especially our friends on Explore.org, they love hearing about Sophie. Can you give an update on how she's doing?
Oh yeah, Sophie's doing great. So Sophie actually had
had to wear splints all the time. And so we would take them off once a day, but put them right back on. So we would change the splints. And now she's only wearing them at night. So she goes out all day long without her splints. We did at first have a wheelchair for her when she was getting, her legs in the splints atrophied. So she didn't really know how to use them at first. So now once she has her legs out of the splints, at first we had to use the wheelchair to help her build muscle in her legs, but now she's built that muscle. So now she can go all day long without the splints, and then she does wear the splints again at night because she just lays down with them. And because her tendons are starting to try to go back, so we're trying to just keep them splinted long enough that she doesn't contract the tendons again. But she's doing great. She's grown out of her sweater. She's got a really big belly now. She's a little chubster, and we love her. We love her. We love her, we love her. She looks fantastic. So she will eventually join this group. And the good news is,
This is a really good place for us to do live feeds. Look at you guys pretending you're big sheep. You are not big sheep. You are not. There's nothing about you that's big. Even your little feet are little.
they're very, very little.
I know. Oh, hello. You are very handsome.
And they love, love, love nothing more than to sleep together and be in a big pile. And they like to hang together, and they're best friends. Well, they're siblings.
So Linda's asking if they're with us at Sanctuary or at the vet currently.
Oh, right now, this is our Melrose Hospital, so we're here at the Sanctuary. So this is actually one of the greatest, but many a baby has been raised in this hospital. This is where Hazelton was born, and Vera Jo was born. This is where so many births have taken place. Maggie the goat was born in here.
You are in good company, I tell you. Very good company. Very, very good. Yes, you are.
So can you talk about some of the things that we get to do on site here because we have this hospital?
Yeah, well, the great thing is, we can keep these guys in a sanitary environment, which is fantastic. It's really, really important, again, when they don't have enough colostrum and their immune system's gonna be weak. We can do all the medications that we need to do when they're in here. We can keep them warm when they're in here so we don't, they would not do well right now in an outside stall. It's really, really, really cold here. So the floors in here are heated, but they're not too hot. They're just right. 3 bears, like the 3 bears you are, Andrew Brown. But we'll keep them nice and safe and warm in here. It's completely predator-proof, obviously, and it's right by where we always are because we mix up the meds and stuff in the kitchen. This is where all the caregivers hang out when they first come in. So everything is kind of here. All the medications are here. Oh, that's that ball that I was talking about. So this is just a really great place for them to be while they're getting, healthy and growing. So they're going to do really, really, really well here. And this has always been the best spot for them. The other thing that we have is in a couple of the pens we have a big camera, so if we have like a pregnant mother, we can actually watch her from home on our cameras. So we can make sure that she's not in any distress. Besides having people stay here, it's really good to have that. So the hospital allows us to keep the animals here and not have to send them, even when they're sick and they're weak, we don't have to send them all the way to Cornell for every single thing, right?
Most of the everyday stuff.
We have a
just
couple
gets
of
done here.
questions coming
Yes.
through.
Hello.
So Wendy's asking if you can confirm if the farmer gave them up because the mom had died.
Yes, the farmer gave them up because the mom had died and she didn't feel she had time to take care of them. And it is a lot of time. It's every 4-hour feeds. We're constantly taking temperatures. We're now treating everybody with antibiotics because we had a lot of really wet lung sounds when they first came in. So we're really watching that they don't get a bad pneumonia. It's so funny because when you have babies with all this hair, it's hard to remember that these are neonates. Like these are 3-day-olds. So, because they're sheep, and just like sheep and goats and all the babies, they have to be, because they used to be wild animals, they have to be able to get up and leave right away. They can't just lay there like a real baby. Like real baby. I said real baby. Like a human baby who is basically helpless. Like a human baby can't run away.
But you have to sometimes. What if there were coyotes? It would be tragic. That's why we have to run.
So they have the ability to get up immediately, so they do. But the first night that they were here, they were really like little drunken sailors. They kept falling over. They couldn't stand up for very long. They were really wobbly, and they hadn't gotten enough to eat. So by the time they got here and we got them all nursing, which again took hours, and it's also hard to get them to nurse. A lot of times when mom isn't around, they don't want to nurse on the bottle. No, they want to be tube fed.
Oh, don't eat those. That's gross. We're gonna have to change this.
So they are a lot of work. So So for a person to say like, I just don't have the time to take care of them, that's probably very legitimate. And thankfully, you know, they didn't go to the sale, because a lot of times when that happens, they're just sold at an auction the next week. We have taken in lambs where the mother has clearly passed and the babies are almost dead by the time they get here because there's been no care given. So in this case, I love how they're just chewing on whatever's here. Do you really like this stick? So in this case, thankfully, we got them very quickly, because a lot of times people wait for like a week before we get them, and they're already in really bad shape. So we want to make sure that, you know, these guys have every single thing that they need, which is all the time. You need attention all the time. I
She was
know.
asking, with all this round-the-clock care they're getting, will their immune systems improve?
They might, and so right now we'll have blood work pending to see if they actually got enough colostrum. So you can actually run a test to make sure that they don't have failure of passive transfer, which is not getting enough colostrum, not having enough to create an immune system. And if they didn't do that, and they were sickly, or if we even just needed to, we could take them in and get a blood transfusion for them. So plasma transfusions can be done if they didn't get enough from mom, and then that will give them everything they need. They will slowly but surely develop an immune system, thankfully. But again, we put them on antibiotics immediately because they were all sounding like they were getting pneumonia already, which is probably from being out in the rain. Now you're high and dry. High and dry.
Donna's
Yes, you
wondering
are.
if it's likely when they join our main flock eventually, will like a mom sheep kind of adopt them and look after them?
No, and it's weird because it's so funny. We don't usually see that. What we do see, we see that more with the cows. With the sheep, the younger sheep will fall madly in love with them. Like the younger sheep will be the ones that like want to play with them. Sheep are very different than goats and the cows. Like what we've seen, what I've seen from doing this for like 25 years, is the sheep have a tendency, I think it's because they also raise the children together. So all of the lambs become like this tight unit, and then the moms are like a tight unit. So you're more than, you will see a lot of the babies around the moms, but you're usually seeing the babies around the babies that they grow up with, right? I know, it's terrible. Hi. I don't have any milk. I'll get you some more, I promise. I will. I'll see if I can get you some. What? No, I'm gonna see if I can get him a little bit more. I'll ask how much you have. Maybe you've grown. So they also have to be weighed every day because you have to up their milk as their size increases, clearly. So, yes, we do. We have to up all your milk. So anyway, they're amazing. So watch them for a minute. I'm gonna see how much milk you got. I know, I hear them in there too. Every time they hear somebody right outside, they start yelling for milk. Are you hungry? Tell them. Boo! It's the greatest sound in the world. I'm gonna ask. Hey, hi. There are no caregivers down here. Boo! I'm trying to find out. It's crazy how starving you are. Because again, when you're feeding them a whole milk, they actually can have more. You can have more. How much do they get?
So they're each on different amounts. The biggest one is on 93 cc's. The
Okay.
smallest is 82.
Because we can put them on a little bit more if you want to. Yeah, okay. Because they're still acting very hungry. Are you hungry? Yay! Come on. Okay, so they're going to do a little bit more dancing for the camera, and then we'll get you some more milk. I will get you a little bit more. I'll get you a little bit more, just a little. Yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit of an increase on the milk. We definitely have been weighing them and just doing the amount that they needed at first, because you also don't want to upset their little bellies too early on. But you can increase a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit, so they can actually have more than 15% of their body weight. Yes, you can.
I was asking if we know why their mom passed away.
We don't. My guess is pregnancy toxemia, which is not an unusual thing for them to have. That's one of the number one reasons that a mom will die. They can hemorrhage when they're giving birth. I haven't heard of that as much. The main situation that we see is they become toxic, the mother, and they're very sick. And I'm glad that she gave birth to them. I think, you know, it's just very sad because they do so well with their moms. But what's not very sad is now they're going to live here and no one's ever going to do anything to them. You won't be bred, You won't be eaten, and you won't be anything. They'll just be able to be themselves. And since we've had them now, since they're like, newborns, these are gonna be 3 very super friendly sheep. Very friendly sheep. I've never had one of the sheep that we have brought up from a baby that's not, especially the ones that don't have a mom, not turn out to be just amazing.
Will they stay
Sweet.
bonded with each other forever?
Yes, they will definitely stay bonded with each other. Siblings are always together, and they really enjoy each other. Yes, and they may like join like a little group. Like I'm really hoping somebody will hang out with Scott someday soon, because Scott still thinks he's a goat. He needs some lambs, and he's a Katahdin. So perhaps I say that every time he never meets another sheep. But yeah, so we have to, we'll see who they end up hanging out with, and they can end up hanging out with just about anybody. Yes.
Now we're already starting to see little personality traits stick out for each of them.
Yes, already. So they're suckling on each other's noses, which may be one of the cutest things they do. But they're doing a nose suckle as we speak. But yeah, the 2 boys have very, very obvious personalities. Well, so does the girl. So the boy that's closest to the door, that's doing suckling on his brother's nose, is the more playful one. So he does a lot of bouncing and running. The one that was the weakest is the other one, that his back is turned to you. So he had a little bit of a rougher start. I mean, they're only 3 days old, so God knows what's going to happen when they're a month old. But he was a little bit more quiet. He is also a little bit more playful. The talkative one and the most curious one is the girl, and that's the one that's in the hay right now. And she's just chatty, and very, 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 very sweet. So she like runs right up to you when you come in. So she's like the friendlier one of the 3.
Come here. Come over here, please. Come over here, please. Hello, hello.
So anyway, the good news is you'll get to watch these guys grow up. And it's fun to watch them grow up, and it's one of the best things about caregiving is even if they're sick when they come in and there's tons of work and everything is just crazy, watching these animals grow up, they're family members, so you get to see them through all stages of their life. And I've been here for 18 years, so I have so many that I've known since the day they were born up until they're 18 years old at this point. The first cow that I ever had was Travolta, and he's just turned 18. And you can see how her back legs, now that she's been playing, she does have something going on. See how she walks? With her back legs, and we are concerned that there might be some navel ill, which is the other reason that we put her on antibiotics.
Are you doing the phlegm response for some reason, little boy?
So she will be one that we're really keeping an eye on, and that's why we take temperatures every day as well. And every single one of them has to have every joint felt every single day. So from the tiny toes all the way up through their hips, because they'll get heat and swelling if they get a joint infection, and that will kill them. So we have to watch that every single day.
So tell us about navel ill, and are the joints related to that?
Yeah, so what happens?
I know.
So with navel ill, and again, they didn't get either of these, I'm sure, so they didn't get enough colostrum. So they don't have antibodies, and if you don't clean the umbilical cord, so you don't dip the umbilical cord in iodine and make sure, look how cute they are, and make sure that umbilical cord stays clean until it starts to dry up, they can also get infection that goes up into the bloodstream, which is what causes navel ill or joint ill. So the umbilical cord and the umbilicus can get infected all by itself, and sometimes that, especially on the calves, that whole umbilicus has to be removed because it becomes so infected. But then since it's in the bloodstream, the infection goes to the joints. And that's where the problems lie, because these guys are still growing, obviously, they're 3 days old. So when they're growing, if they have infection in the joints and in the growth plates, it actually screws up the whole leg. So it can be really, really bad for them. This is what we have to suffer through watching this cuteness.
All the time. Yes, indeed.
How big do we think they'll grow to be?
Since they are Katahdins, the boys will probably be anywhere between like 175 and like 250, and the girl probably like 125 to 175, that range, depending on how big they get. And I don't know their parents. I never got to meet either. But yeah, they're usually about that size. They're very sturdy. And a lot of the Katahdins we have, it's such a mishmash because we get Katahdins a lot. A lot of farm-to-table operations have Katahdins because they're selling lamb meat. They are not used for wool. Most of the sheep that are in the U.S. are used for meat. So you usually have farms with lots of moms and lots of babies. And the babies are being sold for lamb. So it's really, really sad, actually. And the moms do get extremely upset when they're separated from their babies. One of the things that we see is they just scream bloody murder if they can't see them. And we've had whole rescues with I think the largest one we took in were 20 sheep, I think, 20 ewes, and they all gave birth. So we had all the babies and they were all together in a big group. But when the mom loses track of her baby, and there's all these sea of babies everywhere, they have a call that they make. And the mom only makes that call when she has a baby. It's this it's a guttural sound. And the baby responds to it unless they're being little brats and they want to play, and then they're running off and doing things that they're not supposed to, and the mom goes crazy trying to find them until she does. So they have a language with mom. So all of that, it's really sad because all of that they won't have. I will speak to them in sheep as much as I can, but it's not the same. And so, they will have a fantastic life, and they will have a whole family once they move into the flock. Once they are part of the flock, they will be a member of a very large family, and they will bond with a certain group. Hopefully Lorelei and that group, because although they're getting friends, I was just out with them a little bit ago. They're actually hanging with Joel and William, which are two of the cooler sheep in the flock. So they're hanging with the cool kids right now.
And how are they settling in?
They're settling in. It takes a long time, and I think the thing that is very different about those 4 sheep were when we got them, they were already full grown, they were adults, and they're tiny, but they were not touched by people. They are so. One of the things that I said even when we were getting ready for the court thing is I've had lots of frightened sheep come in, but these sheep were really frightened. And the little white girls, Lane and Paris, can jump right over your shoulder when they're scared. They're really, really high jumping sheep. But they were extremely scared when we got them. So they don't even let us touch them. We don't get to go out. And you can see how most of the sheep in the flock respond to people, some more than others. But they never did. So they still haven't. So what we're trying to accomplish by putting them in that big flock is to let them feel safer, because they do feel safer when they're in a larger group. Then they'll start to venture up and see people, or we'll get to a point where they're not as frightened about just existing in the world, because their whole day would stop. You could watch them from a distance and they were happy and playing, and then the minute people walk up, they run because they're so frightened. So we want them to be confident and feel secure. So the best way to do that is to be in the larger flock. And if it doesn't work, we'll figure something else out. But now that they're hanging out with 2 of the coolest sheep I know, I think they'll be fine. Because they're hanging out with a very large, one of the top boys, Joel, and then William, who's a big goofball and loves everybody. So I think that they will also build confidence by doing that. So that is why we continue to try keeping them in the main sheep barn. And again, if it doesn't work, we have lots of alternatives, which is great. So all of our barns are designed to have different herds or flocks within the same barn. So when things don't work out, there is always another place for them to go. And one of the things we do more than probably anyone on the planet, because we have so many different flocks, is most of the sheep get along great. So that's never a problem. But I think we have 10 goat herds, and I know we have at least 10 pig herds, and it's because they don't always get along, so they need a place to go where they feel safe. And that is the key to everything we do, is if the individual feels good about their life. So psychological, needs are just as important, I think, than, as the physical, because if they're psychologically always under duress, their immune system is terrible and they don't do well. So meeting their psychological needs is equally important. So we will see how Lorelei, Rory, Lane, and Paris, the Gilmore girls, do. And if everybody wants an update on Luke the donkey is now being neutered. So he is at the vet. He will come back a new man, and a new man that in 3 weeks can move in with all the other donkeys, which will be amazing. So we will make sure that you guys see that as well, because Luke has been donkeyless his entire life. And again, donkeys are herd animals, so for him, he will now be in a herd of donkeys, and that is going to be awesome. And that's what we love. We love taking animals that have just been isolated and alone and allowing them to become a member of a family, which we're very excited. And watching these guys grow up, and they're never gonna have a day where they're like fearful or freaked out or scared. It's gonna be a good life.
We have a couple of cow questions.
That's a good idea, okay.
While we look at these cute lambs.
Yes.
So people are asking how our Orland boys are doing since they came here. So Blake, Phoebus, Sixer, Stefan, and Edwin.
They are fantastic. They are definitely fitting into the herd. I was just down at the main herd as well, and they're up with everybody else. So they're becoming friends, mostly with the other Jerseys, which I think is really funny because most of them are Jerseys. And then I see Stefan actually with some of the Holsteins as well. So they're all starting to just kind of blend in. So you wouldn't, like if you walked up there now, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's a different herd or a new herd. They're acting like they're part of the main group now, which is good. And we're waiting because we have a new barn, a new cow barn, that's in the process of being finished. And once that is finished and the fencing is up, the main herd is actually going to move to that area. It's a beautiful big barn with beautiful big areas for them to go outside. It's got a great area for feed, so they're going to have it's going to be a really amazing life for them as well. So they're having a good time. And cows actually like the cold, which I think is really funny. They actually love like just being outside in the snow, and they get like a couple inches of snow on their backs when they're outside just playing. The thing they really hate is like super cold, like windy, like blustery wind, and drafts. And so we always have places open for them to go where they can get out of the wind and out of drafts. And the main thing in the winter for them is just to keep the ice off of the areas where they walk, because we don't want them to fall. But they do great. They get nice, thick, fuzzy coats, which are all getting right now. And I've just been in California, so when I got back, Diane did her happy dance, for all of you who know who Diane is. She just did it today when I saw her. She bounces around. We have a cow that when you're really close with her, if she hasn't seen you for like a week or a few days or whatever is upsetting to her, she bounces all around you. And we do have some video of that we've played a few times. But she does it so often. We have a lot of videos of her doing it. But she did it today, so it was like my big welcome home. So it's nice to be welcomed home by the cows.
People are also asking about Sweet Pea, who they've seen on Facebook.
So much is happening. So there are really two of them, not just one. So Sweet Pea is one and Baby is the other. And Baby has been at Cornell because she has an eye issue. She has a horn issue that actually they couldn't even take care of because she was very upset and she would not let them sedate her, which is fine. That's her choice. So she's now home, and we'll get her to calm down before we make her go through that again. She did get her hooves done. She has really bad arthritis, so she's now on pain management, which should help her feel better. But she looks a lot like Sweet Pea, only she's red. So we will be putting out pictures of her this week. She's absolutely gorgeous, but she is blind in one eye, and she's 15 years old, and she's like bright red, like a pumpkin orange, actually. She's orange like a pumpkin. Really, really pretty, though, and big and hairy like her sister. And they're probably not sisters, but the likelihood is that these girls were both used to breed. So they have baby after baby after baby after baby. So they are now retiring and very excited about the retirement. So they're together now. And you could probably, I don't know if the Wisconsin cam is working, but if the Wisconsin cam is working, you can see them. They're going out front, kind of where the alpacas were for the last month or so, towards the front of the barn. They can both come out that way, so you'll be able to see Sweet Pea and Baby. We are probably changing Baby's name because Baby's old. Baby doesn't need to be called Baby. Nobody puts Baby in the corner. Nobody. So they're there, you can watch them, they're really awesome, and they're very friendly. They like to be groomed, so we've let some people groom them, which they really, really enjoy. They like to be brushed. Yeah, so they're doing great.
Anything else you want to say about these sleepy little cuties?
Yeah, these sleepy little cuties are awesome. And if you're coming, you still can probably sign up for the Sunday Thanksgiving event. You should, because then you get to see the lambs. which is really awesome. Yeah, so you'll get to see Sophie, you'll get to see Sweet Pea, because the celebration for the turkeys has a lot of hours of farm time, which allows you to go into the areas with animals and you'll get to see them, and it's really awesome. And we are over full on Saturday, but we still have openings on Sunday. And it's such a great event because we're feeding the turkeys, and the turkeys are so happy. We make these giant elaborate tables with like pumpkin pie and acorn squash and big salads, because the turkeys love these giant salads, and they love cranberries. So they eat the cranberries off of everything, and you get to spend time with them and the cows and the pigs and the sheep and the goats and the chickens and everybody else that's here, because there's hours of farm time. And it's just a really great event. And then we go to this nice restaurant and have a really big meal that makes you want to fall asleep immediately because it's so big and it's so good, and you're around all these really awesome people. And we have a talk, like I'll be talking about turkeys, and you'll learn so much about turkeys you won't even know what to do. You'll be like, I need a turkey. I need to have my own companion animal turkey. So you definitely should come. It is such a great event, again, and it is not completely sold out on Sunday. Saturday is a no-go.
And this is not this coming weekend, but the
No,
following
next weekend, not this coming weekend. If you show up expecting food this weekend, you will get nothing. No.
We'll post a link on Facebook so that everybody can see on this chat for anyone who wants to register for our Sunday event.
Oh yeah, and if you are in London, Ontario, I am speaking at the Veg Fest this weekend there, so you can come and check that out as well. That'll be a lot of fun. And then when you're there, I will talk you into coming on Sunday to the celebration for the turkeys. So definitely do think about coming. It's one of the greatest ways to celebrate the lives of these turkeys. These turkeys are really amazing, and I want people to meet them. And then it's just the best way too, in my opinion, to kind of like broach that subject with family members, because that holiday is very, very hard for a whole lot of people. So it's nice to have like a celebration where, you know, you have vegan food and the turkeys are like the, you know, get this, you know, on the center of the table. They're the center of attention is what they are, because it's their party. So it's like a party for them. So really fun way to celebrate Thanksgiving. Really great way to just get outside. It's so beautiful here. The leaves have all changed. Oh, and we also feed pumpkins to the pigs on those event days. So that is fun as well. So please come and you can enjoy seeing the lambs. We will post more stuff about the lambs, because you can't get cuter than these lambs. And they will become very active within the next 2 days. They're going to be like springy little crazy lunatics. So hopefully we'll get a lot of video of that. And by next week, if they're like as crazy as they think they're going to be, we might do the live feed again from here, so you can watch them in action. Because there is nothing cuter than lambs who jump off things and are just really rambunctious and fun. As they are not right now. Now they're babies who need lots of sleep. Right, babies? No responses. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for always tuning in. If you have questions, please ask. We love answering lots of care questions, lots of questions about the animals. In between the feeds, if you have questions, just write to us and ask. And one more good news. There's more good news. Tonight at 7 and 7:30, all of the remaining Orland animals arrive on the farm here in New York. So all the goats will be here starting tonight. Yay, did you hear that? See, even the lambs are excited. That woke the lambs up. So they will be here tonight. We've had people driving for days and days and days with the goats, and they are arriving tonight. So you'll have a whole new family of goats to meet. We got some really cool goats. A lot going on here at Farm Sanctuary in Watkins Glen, New York. So tune in next week. Keep watching and see these pictures of all the lambs as they grow and they're playing. And I hope that we see you on the 17th and 18th for our celebrations for the turkeys. I'm very excited about it. Gobble, gobble, gobble. No, I'm very excited. Have a good day.